Today we're talking about procrastination. We're talking about different types of procrastination because we know everyone deals with it. I mean, I procrastinated making this video. And there's different types of procrastination that specifically artists and music producers deal with. So stick around till the end. We're going to talk about how to fix this stuff. And let's start with the first one. And you might be able to relate to this one. First type of procrastinator, the perfectionist. Right? Anyone out there perfectionist? Hit that like button if you can relate to that. Right? As people that make music, as people that work in the creative field, we're constantly trying to make that work perfect. And you go about this process, you're trying to make everything the best that it can be, and it just causes you more stress. You know, there's a quote about this, paralysis via analysis, right? So there's other quotes, done is better than perfect, but let's talk about how to fix it. First of all, you have to be very clear about the purpose of your task, and then assign a time limit. So I'm going to say that again. Be very clear about the purpose and the focus of the task and what's the time limit. For instance, if you have to finish a song, don't just say I'm going to finish this song at some point. Say no. The process, the path is, I'm going to start with the idea and then I'm going to mix it. I'm going to master it by a certain time and then add a time limit to those things. Add a finishing date and whatever's there by that date, that's it. The best example of this in the real world, famous example, Swedish House Mafia. Amy Thompson, at the time the manager of Swedish House Mafia, they were finishing their final song before they retired, Don't You Worry Child, their biggest hit ever. And it was taking them a long time to finish that record. So what did she do? She actually put a time limit on it. She said, whatever's there by May, whatever, by that date in May, that's what we're doing. And once she put a time limit on it and the boys got to focus on that record, they finished the record, went to #1 in the dance Billboard charts, their biggest hit. So use time limits and make a focus on what you have to get done. That's the first type of procrastinator, and that's that fix. 2, the dreamer. A lot of us do this. We make these big plans. We dream up these big things, but then we don't execute on it. Right? You know, I talk to my students about this. If you don't know, we run a music school. My name's Justin. I run a Cosmic Academy. We have over 500 students. They sign to the biggest labels like Spin-In and Tool Room Armada. They play the biggest shows, EDC, Ultra, etc. A lot of them come to me and they're dreamers, right? They want to get on those stages. They're dreamers. They want to sign to those labels, but they don't execute. Okay? So what is the fix if you're a dreamer? If you're a dreamer, the best thing you can do is chop that dream into bite-sized goals, into small little chunks, what we call chunking with our students. An example in regular life is when you take a book and instead of saying, oh my God, look at this book. I want to read the book. I'm a dreamer. I want to read this whole book, but it's 100 pages. If you're a dreamer and you're that type of procrastinator, you're not going to finish all 100 pages. You would be more likely to finish it if you were to just say, I'm going to do 5 pages a day. That's it. 5 pages a day. In 20 days, you're done with that book. You would have never finished it otherwise. And you can do the same thing within music. So yes, it's great to dream. I'm going to play the main stage of EDC. We just had one of our students, Nostalgic. She just played the main stage of EDC. But she didn't just sit there her entire career. You know, when she joined us 4 years ago, that's it. That's the only thing I'm going to dream up. No, she started and chunked it out. Let's work backwards. How do I get to the main stage of EDC? Well, I can't get to the main stage of EDC unless I play a slightly smaller festival and a slightly smaller, and a smaller gig. And I'm not going to be the headliner opening. You got to chunk it out. What's the first step that you can take to get you there to that big dream that you can execute on? Because again, the difference between a dreamer and a doer is execution. So even if it's something small, you playing a little show to 10 of your friends, you opening for an act, that's one step. And the way our brains work is once you complete one thing, your brain wants to complete more things. So that's a dreamer. That's number 2. Let's talk about the third type of procrastinator, the avoider. All right? A lot of us are avoiders. You get worried. I can't take this on. So instead of trying to go into it and just facing it, we avoid doing it. So you just put it off. And what does that cause? More procrastination. You don't end up doing anything, and you're stuck in the same place. What's the fix on this one? If you're an avoider and you see a set of tasks, and you're just like, fuck it. I don't want to do any of this. The fix, and this is going to sound strange, start with the worst one first. Seriously, start with the worst one first. If you start with the easiest one instead, you're like, you know what? This thing's not that hard. Let's start there. You're not going to make it all the way up to the worst one. You're still going to avoid it, because in the avoidance procrastinator, a lot of it comes down to you don't want to do that worst one. So starting with the worst one, just getting that out of the way, there's endless research on this. There's the people that take the cold showers. Why are they taking the cold showers? The real reason psychologically is because if they can do this really hard thing when they first wake up, the rest of their day isn't going to be so bad. There's people that like to go to the gym in the morning, right? Let me get that over with. Let's get through that difficult task of going to the gym, and then everything else is a bit easier. And the same thing's going to happen with you. So if the thing you hate the most that you're trying to avoid, TikTok, you're supposed to be doing TikTok and you're avoiding doing TikTok, and that's part of your list of things you have to do, get that done first. Get that done in the morning, and that same thing happens in your brain. The reward center in your brain is going to say, oh, we accomplished this task. Now we can accomplish more. This is a real thing that happens in your brain, right? Our brains are wired in a way that when you complete something, your brain then wants to complete more. All right. There's a whole book on this called Make Your Bed. I think it was written by an admiral or a general. It talks about this, just getting things done, and that's going to make you want to do more things. The next type of procrastinator, the last minuter. You just wait till the last minute. It's the final second before that is due, and then you're stuck. I've got a day, I've got an hour, I've got a minute to get this done, and you never get it done. You deliberately wait till the last second. And I was like this, in college, and I've been like this in certain ways. The way to fix this, if you wait to the last second, let's say it's with a record contract, and you owe 3 songs by a certain date, you wait to the last minute, or you have to get a social media post done by Wednesday you do your posts. Instead of waiting until Tuesday night, right before you have to make those posts, again, this might sound strange, but this is a psychological studied fix. You should actually try to do more than one in bursts, days and days before. What I'm trying to tell you is, instead of just trying to do that one the night before, say, no. I'm going to do 5 weeks of posts. I'm going to do way more than I have to in advance. You already know that you're a last minute person, right? You got to be honest with yourself. A lot of this stuff is just being honest with what your problems are. There's an old saying that the first step in fixing your problems is admitting you have one. That's like 50% of the battle, maybe more. If you're honest with yourself and you're like, hey, I'm a last minute kind of person, what's the opposite of that? Like, what is the drastic other end of the spectrum? Oh, that would be me making 5 social media posts a week prior and being set for the whole month. And if you can attack your brain from the opposite angle, you'll say, okay, that actually works for me. And sometimes doing the opposite, doing the complete opposite in the comfort zone, the other side of it, is sometimes a winning result. And that's actually works for me. And that's a lot of times what we do at Cosmic Academy, where we do a lot of work in advance just to get it done, to avoid being that last minute situation. Then there's the multitasker, procrastinator number 5, the multitasker. A lot of us run into this. You have so many different things that you see that you have to do, and then you don't do any of them. That's procrastination, right? And as an artist, as someone that produces music, I get it. You have to make the song, do the social media, you have to send the tracks to the labels. You have to talk to the A&R. You have to get tracks out to promo, Spotify, the artist support. There's a lot that you have to do. How do we fix it if we're a multitasker? Okay, this is about prioritizing. A lot of the reasons why we procrastinate as multitaskers is because we actually put everything on the same level, and we shouldn't. We have to prioritize what's the most important and then go from there. So in that situation, all those things I just said, that might even given you some anxiety, procrastinating already the second I said that. None of those matter if you don't do the most important one, which is the song, right? If you don't finish the song, look, the social media around it's not going to matter because it's not going to happen. The artist support's not going to matter. It's not going to happen. The label, all that stuff will not happen without that one. So what you should do if you're a multitasker and that causes you to procrastinate, I want you to make a list of all those things horizontally first, and they're all going to look equally as important, but they're not. I want you to force yourself to rank them in priority and then check them off one at a time. And you'll realize, oh, the really important one, once I get that one done, some of these other small ones, bang those out in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it's not as difficult. It won't feel as much, and this multitasking of these 10 things is a lot easier to digest and do. You'll be able to execute then. So that's the fix there. And then the final one, the other procrastinator, the sixth and final procrastinator, the people that don't follow Cosmic Academy. I mean, what are you doing? We're trying to help you. Seriously. If you've been here this long, I really appreciate it. You know, we've been running a program now for over 10 years, and we do these videos because we want to put out some of the great information that has helped our students see results. That's all we care about. If you've watched this long, if you follow us, do me a favor, share this video with some friends, hit the like button, do what you can. We'd really appreciate it. And hopefully this helped. We'll see you next time.